Hello everyone and welcome to NFL Discussion. I'm your host and NFL enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Saints versus Rams Thursday Night Football Week 16 of the 2023 NFL season, the second to last Thursday night game of the 2023 through 24 season. And this was a game that featured two NFC teams trying to boost their playoff standings. The Rams holding on to a wild card spot, the Saints trying to stay in playoff contention, although the only way that they really could make the playoffs is to win the division. Unfortunately though, the Saints suffered a setback in this game, and with that we'll go ahead and get right into the action. Starting with those New Orleans Saints, who coughed up some early chances and were unable to make up ground late against the Rams. They did make it a 1-point score, down by 8 in the fourth quarter, but unfortunately they had no timeouts, could not get the onside kick, and then could not make any stops on defense, and ultimately there went that. They also went for it on fourth down at multiple times, did not convert any of those, and while they remain in the NFC South hunt, even at 7-8, their playoff odds dropped from 41% to 24% with the loss. Derek Carr's box score was a comeback mode box special after the Saints trailed 27-7 at the 5:42 mark of the third quarter. Carr's second and third touchdowns came in the final 6:33. His first half score was a beautifully lobbed 45-yard deep ball. Those highlights were scattered amongst a few ill-timed, inaccurate throws and a number of third and fourth down failures. Carr totally misread the coverage on his interception. This season for Derek Carr has been a roller coaster, but there could be another peak in Week 17 against the Bucs' pass funnel defense. Alvin Kamara bottled up in his worst game of the season, rushing 9 times for 19 yards and adding 5 receptions for 16 yards. So, bad stat line, though not exactly Kamara's fault in the game. The Saints trailed by 2 scores early in the second quarter. The deficit ballooned to 27-7 midway through the third before the Saints finally mounted some semblance of an effort, albeit too little too late. Chris Olave, give that dude some credit. He was playing on a bum ankle and still posted up a season high or new season highs for both catches, 9 and yards, 123. The tone was set on the opening drive where Olave snagged 3 balls for 36 yards. Olave did seem to still be, it did look like he was still favoring his foot, typically going down instead of fighting for extra yards or risking a big hit, but perhaps that was just some veteran savvy from a banged-up player. The second-year pro has now exceeded 100 yards in 3 of his past 4 appearances. His chemistry with Derek Carr remains interesting to say the least, but the duo is doing all it can to produce ahead of a Week 17 day with the Bucs' soft pass defense. So, talked about it at the opening with a setback for the Saints here, and as I mentioned in the open too, realistically the only way they make the postseason is if they win the South, but I just don't see that happening. They lost to the Buccaneers in their last matchup, and now they face them again, this time in Tampa Bay. Buccaneers are on a bit of a roll. We'll see how their things go. They play Jacksonville at home this week, on Sunday. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is going to be suited up for that game, but they got a pretty good win in Lambeau over the Packers. So, yeah, and I mean, and also too, the Saints couldn't even beat the Falcons. That was another thing too. The Falcons aren't that particularly good of a football team, so 24% still a chance, but again, I just don't see it happening for this team. Los Angeles Rams, so their playoff odds jumped with an important tiebreaker victory, entering the game with a 53% chance of making the playoffs, but improving those odds to 74% with a victory. Their offense is still cooking, and their no-name defense is making some strides as well too. Granted, they have had a habit the past couple weeks of letting opponents try to get back into the game, but they certainly shut those efforts down to ensure that it doesn't actually happen. Matthew Stafford, his heater rolls on with the veteran quarterback piling up his most yards since week 1. He could have had a couple more scores in this game, but was unable to connect on a pair of Cooper Kupp end zone targets, and he missed Puka Nacua for a wide open red zone score. Stafford was still in his bag though, uncorking strange arm angles and threatening passes. Only he would even try. Well, maybe Patrick Mahomes would try those same throws. It's been a stunning turnaround for a quarterback who was looking old and tired around the midseason point. Now bringing the Rams even closer to the playoffs. Stafford has a plus Week 17 matchup with the Giants before a daunting Week 18 matchup in Santa Clara against the 49ers. Kieran Williams, who has been a key part of this offense being able to cook, rushed 22 times for 104 yards and a touchdown. And unusually, he was not targeted in the passing game, but the 100-yard rushing effort is becoming quite usual. He has now done so each of the past 3 weeks and 6 times in his past 8 games. Elite stuff. The man just keeps on running and running and running, and now gets a ground funnel Giants defense in Week 17. Cooper Kupp, 6 of 12 targets for 52 yards, entering the outing on a 2-game hot streak. He had a haunting what might have been performance as he couldn't corral a couple of end zone targets. Now those weren't particularly good passes, but Cooper Kupp has made those kind of catches before in the past. There was also a scary moment in the second quarter where he got his left shoulder rocked, but he didn't miss any time, so thankfully he avoided an injury here. Puka Nacua also had himself a game, I think over 140 yards as well too, and he's also been a key part of that offense cooking as well. So yeah, 74%, quite significant here for the Rams. They hold the tiebreaker over the Seahawks as well, and I think that team is going to be their biggest competition in regards to getting into the post. I think that's going to be the one team that might challenge them for a wild card spot. I think they hold the number 6 spot with the Vikings sitting at number 7. So I think, with this win, Los Angeles has a pretty good grip on the number 6 spot, while the number 7 spot kind of sorts itself out. But even if they, say they lose, I don't think they lose in Week 17, but say they were to lose in Week 18, this looks like a playoff team. This looks like a team that should be able to maintain a spot, whether 6 or 7, in the postseason. And you know what? I was wrong about this team. I thought their season was over. I can't remember what week I threw in the towel on this team, but I thought this team wasn't going to make the postseason, but they have really rallied and are looking like they will, granted 74%, it's not 100, but it just feels like they will make the postseason. And you know what? I'm happy to see that too. They had a rough season last year, and to see them rally the way they did, and or bounce back the way they did after kind of a rough start to the season, it's pretty fun to watch. This is a fun team to watch. And with that, we'll go and wrap up this episode of a bit about discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below.